If you've been around this channel for a while, you might have noticed something. I talk about game design a lot. I analyze the mobile market. I rank engines. I talk about poker, about pay to win, about what other studios get right and wrong. What I almost never do is show you new stuff in my own game. And I want to address that honestly, because I'd rather explain it than have people quietly assume the project died. It didn't. But the reason you're not seeing it is a structural problem that every devlog channel runs into, and almost none of them survive. So let's talk about it. A weekly upload schedule means 52 videos a year, 52 topics, 52 reasons for someone to click. Now think about game development. In a year of solo development, how many moments actually produce something new and visible? A new system, a new screen, something you could put on camera and say, look at this. Realistically, 6, maybe 8 if it's a good year. 6 visible milestones, 52 content slots. That leaves about 46 weeks where the honest answer to what did you build this week is I refactored something visible, I fixed the bug that only existed because of a decision I made 2 months ago, and I started a spreadsheet for a while. That's the math. And it's why most devlog channels die around episode 8. The creator runs out of visible progress, starts stretching thin updates into 10-minute videos. The audience gets bored, and eventually the uploads stop. Not because the game failed, but because the content calendar and the development calendar are fundamentally incompatible. So you've got 3 options: post rarely and lose all momentum, fake progress and lose trust, or make content that stands on its own while the game develops at its actual pace. I went the third one, but that choice has a cost, and the cost is that the game looks frozen from the outside. So let me explain what's actually been happening, even though there's nothing to point a camera at. Let me start with something I got wrong. In an earlier video, I explained a system called stab, same type attack bonus. The idea was that when Guardian used a move matching its own element, the damage got multiplied by 1.5. That system doesn't exist anymore, I deleted it. And the reason why is a decent lesson in game design. Back then, each Guardian had 4 different moves, and those moves could be different elements. A Fire Guardian might have a fire attack, a neutral attack, and a couple of others. So stab actually meant something. It created a choice. Do you use the move that hits harder because it matches your element, or the one that covers a weakness? Then I simplified. Each Guardian now has exactly 1 signature move, and that move always matches its element, which means every attack in the game gets the stab bonus. All of them, always. And the bonus that applies to everything is not a bonus. It's just a bigger number pretending to be a mechanic. I could delete stab entirely, multiply every base damage value by 1.5, and the game would play identically. Same results, 1 less system to maintain, 1 less thing to explain. So that's what I did. And if you watched the older video and were wondering how stab works now, the answer is it just doesn't. That's iteration. What did survive is the type system, and that's where the real work went. 6 elemental types means a 6x6 matrix, 36 possible matchups. Each one is either super effective, not very effective, or neutral. Super effective adds 15% damage. Not very effective removes 15%. Simple to build, extremely hard to balance. I ran over 7,000 simulated battles to check whether those numbers produced a fair game. They didn't. Plant types were winning around 58% of their matchups, fire was down at 43, the other 4 hovered near 50. A 15-point spread between best and worst, which in a competitive game is enormous. And the cause was structural. Fire has 1 type advantage and 2 weaknesses. Plant has 1 of each. That asymmetry is invisible when you look at the matrix, but it shows up clearly across thousands of battles. Fixing it isn't a matter of changing 1 number, because everything ripples. Buff fire and you accidentally weaken water, which was already fine. So you adjust, simulate, read the results, adjust adjust again. Weeks of that, and the visible outcome is that a damage number says 58 instead of 52. Nobody will ever notice. Everybody would notice if I hadn't done it. Okay, one actual new thing, because I did add something you can see. The battles in Guardian's Quest are automatic. You build your lineup, you set your order, you challenge someone, and the fight resolves on its own. That was a deliberate decision, and I still stand by it. The strategy lives in the preparation, not in the tapping buttons during the fight. But some players told me it felt monotonous, and they weren't wrong. Watching a battle you have zero input in can start to feel like watching a loading screen with extra steps. So I added an ultimate button. It charges as your Guardians attack. There is no cost to use it, but you have to wait for it to fill. And when it's ready, you can tap it for a burst of extra damage. What I like about this is that it doesn't break the original design. If you want to put the phone down and let the battle play out, nothing changes. The auto battles still works exactly as it did. But if you want to be present, if you want a reason to actually watch, there's now a decision waiting for you. I'm still testing how much damage it should add. Too little and there's no reason to bother. Too much and the players who don't engage with it get punished for playing the way the game originally promised. That balance is still a work in progress. Here's another one, and this looks even simpler. Guardian's Quest has guilds. Open the guild screen and you get a list of members, and next to each name a role, leader, officer, member. That's it. A list of names with labels. Building that list took longer than building the battle animations, because a role isn't a label. A role is a set of permissions, and permissions mean answering questions that sound trivial until you have to write them down in code. Can an officer kick another officer? Can an officer kick a leader? Obviously not, but the code has no idea unless you tell it. What if two officers try to kick each other at the same moment? Who accepts new applications? If the guild is application only and the officer accepts someone while the leader is rejecting them simultaneously, what wins? What happens when the leader leaves the guild? Does the guild get deleted? Does leadership transfer? To whom? The oldest officer? The most active member? What if there are no officers at all? Who can switch the guild from open to closed? Who edits the message of the day? Should a regular member see the admin panel grayed out, or should it not exist for them at all? Because those are two different implementations with two different security implications. Every one of those has to be answered in code, not once, but everywhere the system touches. The member list, the application queue, the admin panel, chat permissions, donation tracking. Then you test it and find the case you didn't think of. Someone gets promoted to officer while a kick request against them is still pending. Now the system has to decide which state wins. So you write that rule 2. The player sees a list of names. Behind it is a decision tree with dozens of branches, most of which exist to prevent something that might happen once every 10,000 sessions. And if you don't handle it, that one session breaks someone's guild and they're never coming back. Now there's the part I actually want to talk about because it surprised me. When I started this channel, I assumed the videos about my game would be the ones people engaged with, that the audience would be here for Guardian's Quest and tolerate everything else. The opposite happened. The videos that get the most conversation are the ones about the industry, the pay-to-win breakdown, the engine rankings, the poker one. People show up in the comments with real opinions, disagreements, real stories about games that trapped them or projects they abandoned. And that's something I didn't expect, but genuinely value, because a comment section full of people arguing about a game design is worth more to me right now than 100 views on a feature nobody can play yet. The numbers are still small, I'm not pretending otherwise, but something is forming. There are people who show up on multiple videos. There are conversations that continue from one upload to the next. That's a base, and a base is what you built on. So if you commented on any of those videos, seriously, thank you. It changes the calculus of whether this is worth doing. Someone asked me recently whether running a channel actually helps the game or just gets in the way. And the honest answer is it gets in the way, objectively. Every hour I spend scripting, recording, reviewing edits, writing descriptions, and scheduling uploads is an hour I'm not spending on the game. There's no version of this where the channel makes development faster. A video costs me about 4 hours of actual work. It's 1 hour structuring the script, 40 minutes recording, and cleaning up the audio, 20 minutes on thumbnails, descriptions, scheduling, sending it to my editor, coming back and reviewing it, requesting changes, and then posting it online, making a description. It's a lot of my time spread across a week of calendar. So yes, it slows the game down. But here's the thing. I spend most of my career in marketing and communications. This is the part I'm actually good at, supposedly. Building an audience, structuring a message, understanding why people click on one thing and ignore another. Coding is the part I had to learn, and I'm still learning. Marketing is the part that I already know. And more practically, a game with no audience is a game nobody plays. I could finish Guardian's Quest tomorrow and launch it into complete silence. Building slowly while also building the people who might care is, I think, the better bet, even if it means the game takes longer. Ask me again in a year whether that was the right call. Which brings me to the thing I actually need from you. Would you rather see more of this? Industry analysis, design breakdowns, opinions about where the game is going? Or would you rather see the slow stuff? The unglamorous week-by-week reality of building a game even when the progress is invisible? I can do either, but I really don't know which one you want. Tell me in the comments, because I read every single one, and this actually affects what I make next. This is Unnin Games. Let's build